Years passed. I moved many times, but always found my way back to the Turnidges. I reunited with Mark at Blaine High School. We were locker partners. My life was kind of a mess. Once I got into trouble and ran away from home. At this difficult time in my life, the person that I visited without even thinking was Mark Turnidge. When I had other challenges with relationships, I cried to Mark. He had the amazing ability to pick me up when I was sad, give me courage, made me feel like my life had purpose. We completely trusted each other with our hearts. And it wasn't long into high school that I began to see flashes of brilliance from him again. Sitting in speech class, the teacher described what he considered the perfect paper and the formula he wanted us to follow. He said he had asked the student for permission to use his excellent paper for an example. Looking up on the wall, and the overhead projector showed the paper. On the right side, I saw an all too familiar name, Mark Turnidge. As long as I've known him, he was writing books, which later shifted to poetry. Mark was incredibly gifted at writing. Through the years, Mark's writings have comforted hundreds, probably thousands of people feeling sorrow. After high school, I was a little surprised that Mark showed limited interest in college. With his brilliant mind, high grades, and gift for eloquent expression, he seemed unstoppable. But Mark was exploring his options. I became a supervisor at a group home for developmentally disabled adults. Mark needed a job, so I told him that if he didn't mind taking care of people, he should check it out. He got hired on, and we were soon working together. Some of the people that we were taking care of were unable to do anything for themselves. Even though he had compassion for them, Mark told me he wouldn't want to live like that. Not enough quality of life, man, he said. Even so, I saw him display true tenderness and love, and everyone around him felt it. Mark had many jobs, touched many lives, shared a lot of love with family and friends, even in the virtual world of the internet. Mark once told me about an online chat forum that he frequented called the GTF, Gamers Talk Forum. I joined there too, and I used to tease him about the angsty nerds there, but he seemed to genuinely like it. Out of curiosity, I logged in there the other day. There I saw 3 sticky Mark Turnidge, we will miss you forever threads, with thousands of replies there, providing updates on the situation, encouraging love, prayers, and support for the Turnidge family, and even a memorial fund taking donations. He had managed to bring perfect strangers to tears. Even some that he respectfully disagreed with. These people, whom he'd never met, most of whom he'd never met in his real life, were absolutely devastated at his passing. This is powerful testament to the positive impact Mark brought with him everywhere he went, even on the internet. He had a great capacity to love, which was never more evident than when he married the love of his life, Wendy. I often thought that their love story would make a pretty good movie. He'd even started a book about it called The Incredible Story of Us. Is that right? She called him Marmar, he called her Wen-Wen. I have never seen anyone in love like those two. From start to finish, they could hardly keep their hands and lips off each other. In fact, sometimes we wondered when they would come up for air. Joking aside, he loved her more than anything in the world. So, today, most of us can't help feeling sad. It's hard to believe that he's truly gone. I love Mark like a best friend, like a brother. There's just a few last observations that I'd like to share now before standing down. Mark admired his father David's knowledge of the Bible, and he loved him. It was always interesting to me because sometimes kids will rip on their parents behind the back. But as long as I knew him, Mark never did this. He honored his father and his mother. He thought his mom Joan was super cool and could tell her anything. And how Mark made her laugh. When his sister Michelle was young, he didn't exactly enjoy babysitting and sometimes even seemed a little jealous of her. But the adult Michelle he loved very, very much. Would have done anything for her. He had a special relationship with his older brother Michael. Mark was outwardly proud to be your brother and doubly considered you a great, valued friend. His firstborn son, Cade, brought him great joy and he loved him very much. I can't help but plainly see young Mark alive in him today. His son Lance kept him on his toes and reminded him of the purity and innocence that he once wrote about in some of his songs. Mark truly loved his family, his friends, and delighted in being around them, as we delighted being around him. The last time I saw Mark, he was doing what he did best, comforting others. There he was, on stage, delivering a beautiful eulogy speech for his friend Monty. As expected, his words were a great comfort to family and friends. He always did a superb job. We sat together in a pew afterwards and talked about some of the challenges of his life, and I felt the need to tell him how proud I was of him. I am so glad that your life has changed course, Mark, because otherwise I could be giving your eulogy, and that would break my heart. Mark half grinned at me, but it was a solemn moment, like telling someone that you love them using different words. Now here I am trying to express how incredible this man was and how much he impacted me personally. Mark was the best. I don't know if God lets folks see the outpouring of grief and love after they pass or not, but if so, then I bet I'd know what he'd say, and it would come straight from one of our favorite Braveheart movie quotes. Fine speech. What do we do now? Just be yourselves. Turnidges, Gradens, friends, I am sorry for our loss, but I am honored to recognize the life of Mark David Turnidge today. He believed in the Lord Jesus Christ, Son of the living God. He believed that Jesus commands us to tell others how to become saved. Mark did this many times that I'm aware of. And for this reason, I know that Mark didn't just get to heaven. He was received into heaven with the highest rewards. Mark David Turnidge, thank you for your friendship. Your star burned bright. We love you. Until we meet again, good friend, farewell.